Android users, you can now have TYT in the palm of your hand. Our TYT app is available for download in the Google Play Store. Just go to tyt.com/app to find out more.
Police in Georgia used a taser on an 87-year-old woman who was cutting dandelions to make a salad. She was using a steak knife to do it. Again, she's 87 years old, and some individual thought it would be a good idea to call the cops on her. In fact, we have a video that explains this in more detail. Take a look.
Marine 911, where's your emergency?
Hey, I'm at Boys and Girls Club. I'm staff here. There's a lady walking in like that bike trail. She has a knife and she won't leave. She doesn't speak English.
Obviously, my grandma did not look violent. And I think with the 3-4 officers that were here, I think they could have controlled her in other ways.
At one point in time, I actually removed the knife from my pocket and show her a knife and then throw it down and threw my knife down on the ground, trying to make her understand what we wanted her to do.
So there were at least 3 cops there on the scene. She is barely able to walk, as you can see in that video where she's walking up the stairs with the help of her granddaughter. And luckily she didn't die because she was tased in the chest. People have died when they've been tased in the chest because they'll suffer from cardiac arrest. But anyway, are we hiring cops that are afraid of 87-year-old women who are cutting dandelions for a salad? And by the way, the person who called the cops, really, like he said in the phone call, I don't think she's really a threat. It's just that she has a knife, looks like she's cutting vegetation. Okay, then why are you calling the cops? What are you doing? Why are you wasting your time doing that?
So the first story I read on this was from CNN, and they had the headline, police used taser on 87-year-old woman cutting dandelions with a knife. And I thought, no, there's something else to this story, right? Now, I know cops are way over aggressive and they're taught and trained to be over aggressive in this country. But still, there's something a little extra to this story. Then I read, the name of the woman is Martha Al-Bishara.
Yeah. I know, I don't think,
yes.
I think you're going too far.
Yes.
I don't think the cops knew what the woman's name was. I don't think the person who called the cops.
No, of course, come on. Of course the cops don't know her name, right? So why did the guy call in the first place? She doesn't speak English, right? So they see someone that they can't communicate with that looks a little different, okay? And so would he have called it on someone who did speak English? Maybe he wouldn't have, because maybe he would have talked to her. By the way, she also has dementia. So the whole sign language that they were trying to do, it wasn't gonna work. And by the way, can we train our cops to realize that some people just literally can't hear you, whether they don't speak the language, they have dementia, or some people are literally mute and they can't hear you, or deaf. So anyway, she turns out she's Syrian, but okay, you want to take that part of it out? I won't take it out.
Okay, Cenk, but let me clarify something. So I, of course, watched the full report on this, and it's not in this particular video that we showed you, where you can see the woman's face. She looks like a white woman, like an old lady. You can't tell anything about her. I know that she doesn't understand English, but you have no idea like what her background is. I don't think that they called the cops on her because they thought.
No, again, Anna, look, and it's a perfectly fine disagreement, and it's possible that it had nothing to do with it, right? But I'm not saying that they had any idea that she was Syrian, right? In particular, or Muslim. She's not. I don't think she's Muslim. I think they're Christian from the region, from their first names. That's my best guess, just to be fair and clear, right? Or that because she looked brown or whatever. But did the fact that she couldn't speak English have a role in this? I'm saying at a minimum, possibly, because the guy called in specifically said that. The cops also specifically said that. Now you can say, hey, that's related to she couldn't understand our orders. And that might just be it. But were they also a little frightened because it was a foreigner with a knife?
As a Syrian who's traveled to the South, I can corroborate exactly what you're saying, Cenk. I was in South Carolina at a gas station stop, and I've never felt that much of an alien like I did in that moment, knowing that I wasn't somebody who could be checked into the box of white or black. This woman was staring at me. Her and her husband could not take their eyes off of me. And it was the most bizarre I've ever felt in the US. Yes, the multiple mentions of the fact that she didn't speak English, that she speaks Arabic, seems to contribute this idea that that was something that was important as a part of the story. So I do think that people in the South, the rural South, especially this is rural Georgia, know that there are people around who are not white. They'll know their neighbors. They'll know the folks who are kind of weird or strange in the way that they think about the other. So it wouldn't surprise me that somebody's keeping her maybe as at the back of their mind.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It kind of reads, I mean, we've done stories before about black people just innocuously living their lives and having the cops called on them. And that's kind of historically been shown to be a weapon used against people of color or people who maybe look different or, you know, speak Arabic or are culturally different somehow. It does kind of read that way to me because what was she doing? Stealing valuable dandelions with a kitchen knife?
Yeah.
And walking around looking like in her robe, basically.
Yeah, and look, guys, the ethnic thing as part of this story might or might not be relevant, and it's an interesting conversation.
I know,
but the overwhelming majority of the point of this story is that we militarize our cops way too much, and we literally train them to be cowards. And yeah, that's a big word to use here in this context. But think about it. And we're literally gonna ask you in a poll, if that 87-year-old woman that you just saw in that video, even if you didn't see it, like the most sprightly 87-year-old woman you've ever seen in your life, and she has a knife, and she's calmly, very slowly walking towards you, and you say, all right, well look, there's some percentage chance that I'm gonna get, you know, stabbed or whatever by that knife, would you tase her? I would take the chance of being stabbed by the 87-year-old woman 100 times before I would tase her. I'd rather take that risk with my hands, with my whatever, right? That the risk that I could do like this and get her to put the knife down, as opposed to taking a taser and shooting electric shocks into an 87-year-old woman who might kill her. And maybe you'll say I'm soft. Oh, what a lib, right? He'd rather get potentially stabbed than put her down, right? Okay, then guilty as charged, then I'm a lib. But I think you're a bad guy if you do that. And you know what? And maybe you disagree, that's why we're doing the poll. Maybe you think, I'm not gonna get stabbed, I got kids, I got a wife, I got whatever it is. I'm not gonna take any chance, and our cops shouldn't take any chance at ever getting harmed. Put her down. Okay, I'm loading it, okay? But look, what does that make you? 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below. Then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.